Hi, I'm Chris de la Cruz, and the book that I chose, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. So the full name of author, Lewis Carroll. Date of publication is June 27, 2008. So the characters that I got encountered, first one is Alice, the White Rabbit, the Queen of Hearts, the Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the Caterpillar, the Mock Turtle, and the last one is the Griffon. So in the chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole, the protagonist, which is Alice, follows the White Rabbit down a large rabbit hole beneath a hedge of despite not knowing how to get out of it. So she didn't even stop to consider how to prevent herself from falling into a deep rabbit hole. Instead, she just went with the flow and saw what would happen. So this leads to a magnificent world where as she falls, she sees a cupboard and a map floating by. So there are doors all around the hall after that, but they are all locked. So when she tried them all, along with that, she saw a golden key that fit into a glass table. So she tried to open it through the small door, but it wouldn't fit. So she put the key on the table, and then after that, she also noticed a bottle that said, "Drink me," so which made her smaller. So she forgot that the key she had fit into the table, but unfortunately, she saw a cake that said, "Eat me," so which made her normal size. Despite this, she sobs because she feels trapped. At last, she contracts once more, finds the key, and steps into the magical world of Wonderland. In chapter 2, The Pool of Tears, Alice finds herself in a pool of her own tears in chapter 2, The Pool of Tears. After crying uncontrollably because of her size variations, she spots a mouse swimming close and tries to talk to it. But at first, the animal doesn't seem interested. Alice then tried to strike up a conversation by talking about her pet mouse, Dina, and her cat, but this is just enraged the mouse because it views cats as a danger, and she tried to ask for help to a mouse. But then the mouse didn't say anything, and thinking maybe that mouse didn't understand English, so she tried to speak French, which she learned from her French lesson book. When other animals, a dodo among them, joined them in the pool. So they decided to have a caucus race so they can dry themselves. So the following wild race, Alice get into a violent dispute with the animals when they question her about her cat. So the Alice and the animals are swept away as her tears fill the scene as the situation worsens. So she discovers herself that she finds herself on a dry land once again with the animals scattered around her. So, and when she begged for the last moment to the mouse, and she softly say, "Mouse dear, do come back again, and I will not talk about cats and dogs, ever, if you don't like them." So the mouse changed his mind and swim go back to Alice, and they both swam together to the shore and begins her next adventure in Wonderland. So, on the other hand, in chapter 3, a caucus race and a long tail. So the characters participate in a caucus race in chapter 3 of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So in which there is a without a winner or a finish line, and everyone runs in circle. So Alice takes a part in the race and points out how ridiculous it is. So emphasizing how ridiculous Wonderland is. Following the race, the characters became reticent and begin narrating stories, which causes the Dudu to remember a lengthy story about a mouse. So when Alice grows bored and attempts to stop the story, the monster don't listen to her. After a while, the mouse shows in and begins telling its own tale, which the other animals finds it offensive. So the scene captures in Wonderland whimsical and chaotic environment where logic and order are frequently ignored. So the animals appeared to follow the dodo's leads without inquiry, which emphasizes the chapter themes of broken communication and the arbitrary nature of power. So all in all, in chapter 3 offers yet another examination of Wonderland, quirks rather, and Alice attempts to make sense of them. In Chapter 4, Alice Adventures in Wonderland, Alice encounters a caterpillar sitting on a mushroom who engage her in a conversation. Questioning her identity, the caterpillar advises her on how to navigate the changes in size brought about by eating different species of the mushroom. So the chapter 5 sees Alice meeting the mischievous Cheshire Cat who confounds her with riddles and eventually disappear, leaving only his grin behind. So Alice continues her journey into a chapter 7 where she attends the Mad Hatter Tea Party, an nonsensical event marked by perpetual tea time and eccentric guests like March Hare and Dormouse. So in chapter 8, Alice explored the Queen of Hearts garden, encountering talking flowers and engaging in peculiar games of crochet with flamingos and as mallets and hedgehogs as balls. So absurdity escalates in chapter 9 as Alice witnesses the chaotic trial of the Knove of Hearts. So where the Queen's irrational judgment and nonsensical rules prevail. Finally, in chapter 10, Alice finds herself fleeing from the Queen's enraged playing card soldiers, narrowly escaping their wraths before waking up from her dream. So throughout this chapter, Alice navigates through a whimsical and illogical world filled with peculiar character and absurd situation, constantly grappling with the nonsensical logic of Wonderland while trying to make sense of her surroundings. So in chapter 11 of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Alice attends the trial of the Knove of Hearts, accused of stealing the Queen's tarts. So the absurd trial features nonsensical arguments and bizarre witnesses, including the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. In the end, Alice grows frustrated with the lack of logic and calls out the nonsense of proceeding before awakening from her dreams. So, find Alice growing to gigantic size after eating a piece of cake, causing chaos in the courtroom. So she cries full of tears, which is later swims in, shrinking her back to normal size. So Alice meets the Griffon, who takes her to seek the Mock Turtle, who tells her about his sorrowful life under the sea. And Alice encounters the Queen again, who is eager to decapitate everyone in sight. So the Duchess appears, and Alice learns about the Cheshire Cat's ability to disappear and reappear at will. So the cat teaches Alice the importance of madness and madness in Wonderland. So, sees Alice joining a strange game of crochet with the Queen, using flamingos as mallets and hedgehog as balls. The game is chaotic, with the Queen constantly shouting "off with their heads." Alice witnesses the nonsensical nature of Wonderland's rules and authority figures. So finally, Alice finds herself in the company of the Griffon and the Mock Turtle again. So listening to their bizarre conversations, she grows weary of Wonderland's absurdity and longs to return home. So the Mock Turtle tells Alice about his sad experiences, and she sympathizes with him before waking up to find herself back by the river bank, realizing that her adventures in Wonderland were merely a dream. Throughout these chapters, Lewis Carroll uses absurdity, wordplay, and nonsensical situation to satirize Victorian society and explore themes of identity, authority, and the nature of reality. Alice's journey through Wonderland served as a whimsical yet thought-provoking exploration of the human condition. Thank you.